Hello everybody, you're here with me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch. Me. Us. Me and my mannequins and my magical things. So, what are we doing today? I'm going to wait till some people come on and I'll re-say it again. It's in the title. There's a trigger warning. We are using blood magic. Okay? Hi Heavenly, how are you? So good to see you. Trigger warning, if you don't want to see blood that came out of my body, don't watch this video. But I will be showing blood in this video. So, that being said, if that's something that you don't want to see, we'll be showing it in a few minutes. Hi, Spirit Moon, Willow Witch, Anissa Emily, Insane Paranormal, Heavenly Subliminal. So good to see you guys. So, again, I'm going to wait a little while, say hello to everybody. Jack, you're here! You didn't miss this one. I'm so happy. I saw your comment earlier. Right now I'm making a copper wand. I have a little tiny metal dowel that I got from Walmart or something, and I'm wrapping it around as tight as I can, and then hopefully scissors will cut this because I don't have my metal cutters. But what's everybody up to? Hey, Witchy Q, how are you? I've been busy all day today doing Patreon videos. I made my wormwood crown. It's almost finished. It could be finished right now, but I want to add a little more to it. So that took 3 videos. That was really fun. And we're going to add a necklace to it, of course. And I can't do a one-piece working. It's just, like, impossible for me. But I have loads of time, so if any of you need Etsy orders, Etsy's down in the description. Patreon's down there if you want to see those exclusive videos. Yeah, but we're going to feed the Mandrake root, and I want to show that to you guys. This is William. For those of you who have been with my channel for a long time, I used to talk about William loads, and do workings with him and show you what I do there. If you're not familiar with Mandrake root, it is poisonous. It is a nightshade, I do believe. It is, the kind that I have is hard to get. It's European Mandrake root. I don't have any more to sell. I had somebody buy some from me, about $20 worth, and I'm really low, so I just basically throw a piece in with people's orders when I can. Yeah, copper is so magical. So I'm just twisting it really tightly, and you just kind of hold your fingers there and move the dowel, hold your fingers tight. And it will just twirl on down. And when you're done, you'll have this, like, kind of copper wand type thing. See there? Watch. What? I love when that happens. I wish I had a 3-year-old to do that with, because when I used to do that with my nieces and nephews when I used to craft back in the day, and I would do wire around the middle, and I would pull it out and they'd go, oh, how did it stay? You know, because they see the other end. But anyway, I loved being an auntie so much. I became an auntie when I was 13. Hell yeah, that worked. So see, you have this like little kind of metal wand that, no, excuse me, copper wand. Now, whether you're RH negative or not, whether copper is a part of your blood type or not, remember, if you're RH positive, your blood base is iron, and if you're RH negative, your blood base is copper. So this attaches to me in a couple of ways. Copper attached to anybody because it's really, it really draws and attracts energy. So, here come the trigger warnings. There's 11 of us here, but it's in the title. It's in bold. Could you guys see that on the main title of the video? Could you see blood magic warning, trigger warning? But before I show what I'm doing, I just want to make sure that there's like no children here probably. I mean, it doesn't matter to me if my kids saw it, but some kids might be touchy to this. And if you don't want to see blood that came out of my body, you should go. And it's not like I want you to go, I just don't want anybody to be upset. Mountain Butterfly, good. I'm glad that it's in the title, that it's there. Okay. So William, I've been doing videos all day. I think this is my 6th video today. I did a lot of Patreon videos. And my crown turned out so killer, but I'm going to add more to it. Hey Joyce Jordan, how are you? What fell? Oh, right. That's okay. So, yeah, blood magic is so powerful. And the thing, do you guys, I mean, are there any boys here besides Jack? Are there any boys in the chat besides Jack Jolly? You know, I'm going to be talking about menstrual blood. I'm going to be talking about things that might be touchy to a lot of people, but I know that Jack is like super cool. Okay, so William is here, and here's the deal. Mandrake wants to be human. Like, the plant grows in the shape of a human. If you let it grow long enough, this root, when it gets to 7 years, it's formed arms, a head, kind of like, and then at 7 to 9 years, it starts to form genitals if it's like a male plant. So it's a very powerful plant. It's the one you see in Harry Potter where they pull it out of the thing and you have to wear earmuffs because it screams. That's actually a true legend. They just didn't really go further with it. In all my Mandrake videos, I read through all of my books, but I've gotten more new books. So I'm going to watch those old Mandrake videos, see what books I used, and then use my new books and do a Mandrake information part 2. So here's the deal. Mandrake is poison. You should really wear gloves when you work with it. I don't wear gloves when I work with any of my herbs. If anything, I sometimes get a pair of pliers, but I don't like to wear gloves with my workings. It's just something I don't... Everybody has their different ways, yeah. Okay, so the plant wants to be human. That's the legend of it. And it grows in the shape of a human. So it's like it's trying to come from the plant world up to the human world. So what I do, and I've never seen anybody else do this, but since I also love mannequins, I put mandrake root in a glass piece, like a little glass bowl under this glass head. Let me tip you down so you can see what I'm doing. So see this bowl of mandrake root? This is William's base. Like, I call the whole jar William. But you're supposed to name your mandrake root. It wants to be human, so when you get it, you just take that intuitive name that comes to you. So these are the parts of William, and we need to feed him. If you've ever seen the movie Pan's Labyrinth, that's a perfect description of a legend of how you feed the mandrake, with blood from yourself, the person who's asking for the wish or intent, and then you use milk. Okay, so I have blood from when I had my period on Samhain. Okay, so to me that blood's super special. I save all of my menstrual blood and I put it in my freezer. My witchcraft freezer has moles and birds and rats and blood and feathers and all kinds of stuff. My witchcraft freezer in the garage is just full of stuff that I find, bones, whatever. And then I'm so excited because when Violet gets here, she's going to help me try and taxidermy those small animals I've been saving that are my offerings. So anyway, this blood I'm using, because I only feed William like once a month. But this blood that I'm using is from Samhain. And I'm going to show the blood. And the reason why I want to show the blood is for 2 reasons. I don't think most people understand. So here's the trigger warning. We're going to show blood. I don't think people understand how little blood comes out with a period. And if you eat really healthy, it's the least amount of blood because you're cleansing out the toxins of your body. So if you have heavy periods, generally that means like you could probably clean up your diet a bunch. Because when I went to the raw diet, my periods went from 5 days long to a day long. Like, they got down to 24 hours. But I was also 105 pounds at that point, and I was trying to gain more weight. So I'm going to show blood. I want to show you how little there is there, because I've only used like 20 drops of this, and a drop is nothing. But I want to save the Samhain blood because I think it's so cool I had my period on Samhain. I also had my period on Beltane and my birthday. So this year has been like so special. And then I'll just write on the jar Samhain blood from 2018 or whatever, or 18. And I also want you to see the color. It's still bright red, which I hope comes through on the camera. Do you see how red that is still? And what month are we in? That's super red. So generally, air will make it look brown and also give it a very foul odor. The foul odor is going to happen either way. But you should probably put it in the freezer. You know what I'm saying? However, this blood has never been in the freezer. And I have no idea why it's still so red. Because there's air in there, and I've opened it so many times. So, I don't know if it's special Samhain blood or what, but it's pretty crazy to me how that worked out. So that's what I use to feed William, is this like special magical blood. I don't really know. I'm going to try and catch up on questions or comments really quick. Imagine getting raided and the police finding your witchy freezer. That would be hilarious. Yeah, you should name your Mandrake Mountain Butterfly. Just sit with it and just the first name that comes to you, because that's what my books say. Willow Witch, I use blood magic a lot, actually. I'm happy that you were doing a video about this. Yeah, and so I do blood magic from my regular blood, but I never cut myself. So if I get a cut, I try to bleed it out. I'm like, yay! You know, like if I get a cut, but I never cut myself from magic. Sometimes I prick myself with things to put energy into stuff. Like I'll prick myself with a thistle to kind of get that ouch, like that pain energy into something, and then I'll use that thistle. I don't know. I'm just intuitive, you know. This is intuitive folk type magic. So, you know, I just read a lot of books and then take what I get from it and use my intuition after that. So I'm just really amazed because other bloods that don't stay in the freezer are never red like this. So if you guys have any comments on that, why you think it might be that red still after 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, I'd love to know. So we're going to feed William, and then I have a little bit of organic half and half from my fridge, and we just take drops of that and drops of the sow and menstrual blood. Hey, it's Uncle Badger here. Why no clot? Generally I don't have clots unless I'm having unless my diet was kind of poor that month or something. And I'm not trying to say that your diet is poor, but from what I've read, clotting can come from poor diet or sometimes dis-ease somewhere in the body. Not that you have a disease to worry about, but some kind of dis-ease. Is it milk mixed with alcohol? No, there's nothing in it. It's just the blood from the Luna cup. There's nothing in it. Yeah, there's no vitamin E oil, there's no alcohol, nothing. It's never been in the freezer. So, I don't know, that in itself makes me feel that it's pretty magical, and it has a pretty high vibration when I touch it and take it out of the jar. Okay, so, moving along, this is why I put William a glass head over these bits of Mandrake, is because I'm trying to get him his wish to be as human as possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, he looks like a handsome man. And then on top, I have my granddad's hat and some permanent offerings from my granddad. Why did I mix the two together? I couldn't tell you. I just listen, you know, intuition, clairaudience. I just listen and do, as my intuition says. Okay, so let's move along. Let's actually feed these pieces. Let me tell you about these pieces. These pieces live in a different mannequin. This is, which one was that? This little one of the biggies, this is Alex, this is me, and this is Lily. And underneath is a cloth, and it just kind of absorbs the offering, what doesn't drain onto it. And you want to put the milk and the blood directly on the mandrake root. These are some big chunks that I have, some bigger chunks. And again, these are not full grown. These were pulled out and harvested at like a year. They didn't have a chance to form into a full body shape yet. Okay, so let's feed. First, oh, and this one lives up under another mannequin. I want to show you the mannequin. You can't see it too well from here. If you guys have seen the back of my room, this part of my room, up here, there is a wire mannequin. It's a mannequin bust and arms and head, and it's made out of wire. And I put this up and under and inside. That, like there's a little shelf it goes on. So there's a mannequin over this piece, and it can feel human too. So let's get back to doing what we're doing here, and Don't forget to like the video. Thanks, Thomas. Yeah, if you like the video, hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed, y'all. Now, see, because look, this, sorry, trigger warning. This is menstrual blood that's not been frozen, and it's in a little glass dropper, and it's brown. Because, and it's even more held back from air. But do you see the difference in color there? This is still frickin' bright red, and this is brown. So, Samhain? Non-Samhain. It's pure magic to me. So, we're gonna open this, and again, it doesn't matter how clean you are, or how many showers you take, or how good you look, or how good you smell. Menstrual blood that is not fresh has kind of a foul smell to it. Alright? But when it is fresh, it does not. So, I mean, those of you who are over 25, whether you're male or female, have probably dealt with that unless you are not attracted to females. Okay. Enough talking about that, Jennifer. Let's feed these guys. So normally I feed with this in this little glass dropper, but today I'm going to feed with this Samhain blood. Let's do the blood and then the milk. So you definitely don't need a lot, and I use the copper rod to apply it. And you can sit and talk to your Mandrake. It's so bright red, I can't even describe it. It's completely bright red, and the smell is really not that off of fresh. And I'm not trying to be gross, I'm just trying to be completely honest, because these are questions that I would have if I was wondering. So if you get your menstrual cycle on a Sabbath, or even a full moon, I mean, that's special too, because, well, no, we're supposed to be bleeding on the new moon. If you have new moon menstrual blood, that's special too, because that's right where your cycle is supposed to be with the earth. Remember, when the moon looks like a big, when it's full, it looks like a big egg. That's when women should be ovulating. Okay, and then if your body is attuned to nature, and if it is not, then you'll probably be off a bit. But back in the day, and I talk about this in my menstrual blood videos, I did 3 menstrual blood videos that are 30 minutes each. So much passion for the use of this, so much information, so much absolute magic. Doing symbols. So the blood's there, and then now we're going to do a little bit of milk. I would try to do organic milk if you can. Not that it matters, but just that it's a pure, better energy ingredient to give to William, or whatever you've named your Mandrake root. So here we go. Ooh, blood milk, yum. I'm just kidding, that's a terrible thing to say. So I'm just dropping a little bit of milk dots onto there. When I dropped the blood dots, they were bright red. I have no way to explain that at all. Pure magic. Okay. You don't want to put a ton because you don't want it to smell in your room, you know, like, because you just have, like, blood and milk on something in your room. But if you can get a shot of this, how red that is, it looks like absolutely fresh blood. Again, I'm sorry if this is upsetting to anyone. I do want to show the brightness of it, though. See how bright red that is? 8 months old. I have a passion for using this ingredient. If I ever had the chance to get my hands on breast milk, that would be the only ingredient I would think would be more powerful than this in witchcraft. Out of anything. Out of anything. So a little blood, a little milk. All those white dots are milk. And they just absorb right into the root, and you're feeding the root. This is a dish that Alex made for me in his pottery class. I super like it. So again, you guys, if you want to keep your menstrual blood and you want it to be as fresh as possible, you really should freeze it. I don't know. This is an anomaly to me why it's still like that. So, I guess that's kind of it. Now I put them back to where they live in my little space in my studio, and then I give them many thanks and I talk to them all of the time. But please watch the Mandrake videos because you'll learn how it can serve you in your home. One really awesome tradition that I can share with you now is, and you just YouTube search Taxidermy Witch Mandrake, you'll get a few videos. What did I want to tell you about William? I can't remember. Oh, wait. If you put a mandrake root on your mantle of your home that kind of sees everything, the mandrake root will protect your home if you feed it blood and milk. And the blood should be from you. It shouldn't be like pig's blood or something like that. It should be the blood of the person it's serving. Uncle Badger, do not forget, if working with the fairies and the fae, anything with iron in it, including still, drives them off. Oh, that's a really, really good, that's good information. Because I know people think they like shiny metals, but, you know, that wouldn't work. Heavenly Subliminal, so I lactate because of medication, but I'm pretty sure there's medication in the breast milk. Right. But that is, I mean, it's still breast milk. But would it have colostrum? You know, would it have that sustenance of life type thing? I mean, you says your intuition says yes. Yeah, I mean, if you drink or if you smoke or if you do drugs, that comes through your breast milk. I would think medications would too, even antidepressants and things like that. But you know, our kids grow up okay somehow. But we should try and do the best when we're pregnant to keep our bodies at the best for our kiddos, for the best life for them. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that little copper wand that we made out of the rod and the heavenly. Yeah, I would think so too, Shadow Witch. I should definitely do a blood magic video where we get information from books, but let me just check really quick, if you don't mind waiting, 2 of my books to see if they do talk about blood magic. Hey, RV Keeping It Rolling is here! I'm so glad to see you! So glad to see you. So let me grab a couple blood magic books and let me put these guys back, and then we can talk about it, if it's in the books. If not, you guys can just chat about what you know about blood magic. Dude, what's up? I can't put you in front because the other chick's here. I'll move her somewhere else, I promise. Alright. Alright. He's not a fan of the other mannequin because she's kind of a showstopper. And how do I know that? Because he wouldn't stay on his pedestal. He kept moving, and then when I moved her away, it was fine. How do you feel about witches' insurance? What do you mean, darling? Witches' insurance? So, yeah, I mean, there's just so many things in breast milk. And honestly, for whatever situation, if there was an abundance of breast milk from your partner, like they overproduced and the baby couldn't drink it, I would drink it if it was fresh. You know what I'm saying? I would totally Clockwork Orange. You know how they have the breast milk bar? It is so good for you. And if you've never drinking it before... Oh, also, breast milk, I believe, can carry HIV. So you guys really should research on that before you would ever ingest that or something like that. So you should never ingest from somebody you don't know is clean of that dis-ease, because from what I remember, it can be contracted through breast milk. But what I'm telling you is in Clockwork Orange, they, like in some of the beginning scenes, they go in there and there's this big breast milk bar. And I can tell you every CT in that whole movie. I would love to sit down with all my friends, watch that movie, and pause it and go, here's what that means. It's a symbol. Here's what that means. They have, the Eye of Horus is drawn on his face in the front of the cover. Just one. I mean, there's so many huge, like stuff like that. But Clockwork Orange is one of my favorites. Tess sent me the soundtrack on vinyl. I love listening to that. I love working that whole soundtrack. But anyway, breast milk is used a ton in really, really dark, baneful magics as well. Not in the workings, but to empower the sorcerer or the magician. I read high magic, and I know that that's a... it's right on the edge there for a lot of people. A lot of people don't want to read high magic or know anything about it. That's why I have not read it on my channel. Have you guys read high magic? I'm not asking if you're a Crowlite or anything like that. I'm just wondering if you've read it. Oh right, I was going to go get those books and see if I had anything to read on blood magic. Heavenly has been awesome. Great movie, totally. Yeah, it is a super great movie. Clockwork Orange. I wish I could play the soundtrack for y'all. Oh, so that went way up inside that mannequin over there that's hanging on the wall. And that's also where this bright red blood lives. I'm just an anomaly. An anomaly. Please stay there and be good. I always envision a big bright light around all of my stuff because I'm always so afraid that it's all gonna come crashing down. But I gotta stop picturing that, so I just picture this big bright light protecting everything. Hey, Tappy's here. How are you, hon? Like, right, my books. Shit. Can't remember a goddamn thing anymore. Okay, I got a pile of books we can look through. You guys just chit chat while I get set up. Okay. Blood magic. Oh boy. Okay. Thank you, William. Here's some incense for you. There you go, darling. Really important you wash this off now, because you don't want anything to screw with the copper. Okay, and then so let me talk about the books I got. Let me talk about the books I got. Let me talk about the books I got. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Alright, so we're just going to check all these books to see if they have any topics on blood magic. Oy. My hair's at just the length it's getting stuck in my arms. It's pretty annoying. How are you guys doing? You guys doing good? Tam E pie. Like apple pie. Tammy pie. Oh, not Tampy, Tammy pie. Got it, honey. I'll try and remember that. Tammy pie. Like apple pie, Tammy pie. Okay, we're looking at blood to see if it's in the 365 hoodoo. On a bunch of pages, a lot of pages. Let's see if there's any in a row pages. Because that's where the bulk will be. 196, 197. Let's try that. They're putting it in love spells. They're putting blood in love spells. I wouldn't. Nope. I wouldn't. I'm not going to take info from there. Not that I don't like Stephanie Rose Bird, because I really, really do. But that's what my spirit guides are telling me to do. Okay, now we're going to look in the book called Sex Spells, because a lot of time that can go together. I suppose. I don't really know what I'm saying. I mean, I do. But my words are getting kind of mumbled. Blood, page 62. Let's read it. Excellent. Talking about the woman and her moon. And I've already highlighted it. That's cool. Blood is so tricky nowadays. Alright, so the woman and her moon. On the days before menstruation, a larger quantity of hormones circulate in the feminine body. Not only increasing her emotions, but also her magical power. That's what I tell you guys, like premenstrual and menstrual. You're so freaking powerful. That pain you have, you can put into energy, into workings. So not only increasing her emotions, but also increasing her magical power. During menstruation, this extra power leaves her body. For that reason, menstruation is the most potent time for women magically. So all those extra hormones that you have, premenstrual and menstrual, they're leaving your body. All you have to do is direct them in the right way. They're already leaving your body. Does that make sense? You just have to point the direction. For that reason, menstruation is the most potent time for women magically, and the power of the menstrual blood, along with the other sexual secretions, and I'm not going to explain that, but from a woman, sexual secretions, or semen, can be used in many ways. Blood has always been seen as one of the most potent seals on a vow to many cultures. But used magically, it also has many other uses. It can anoint and consecrate your magical tools. And I know you guys have seen people put a drop of blood onto their wand when they're creating it, things like that. Or it can charge candles, cords, parchments, and a drop of blood on the finger, like if you prick your finger, could also be used to draw a symbol of power. So if you prick your finger, make sure if you're cutting yourself for magic, please be hygienic. And get one of, you guys see the only part of my, oh good, you can't see my drawer. Get one of, ooh, here it is, way back here. I have it for people that come over if they want to draw blood. I don't use these, but you get one of these diabetes things, and they come with a few poppers, and they're all like super hygienic and clean. I believe they also come with like an alcohol swab. If not, make sure you have an alcohol swab. And this just is like pricks your finger for a diabetes check. That's going to be what you want to do to be like the cleanest, safest if you decide to prick yourself. But just remember though that I've read in many books, magic will never ask you to hurt yourself. If you want to poke yourself for a working, that's something that you feel you want to do, but never feel like in a working, if it says to use your blood, if you feel like that's not right, leave it out. Use dried pig's blood if you want. Use dragon's blood. Use your spit. Use your menstrual blood. But you don't have to cut yourself. And that's why I feel like women are so lucky, is because once a month we bleed. And no, it's not the same type of blood. It's actually much more powerful. It has every mark of our ancestry in it. Every single, back to the beginning of time. Menstrual blood is amazing. And men could certainly use their partners. If you're a magical couple. So blood has always been seen as one of the most potent seals. We already said that. You can put your finger on parchment, draw symbols. In all cases, the blood carries the magician's life force essence, which is used to impart that energy elsewhere. The use of menstrual blood in spells ensuring a husband's sexual fidelity is common. So doing a working, putting your menstrual blood on it to keep your husband home. It's common in ancient and modern women's folk magic, including Italian Striggerata. So who is my Italian Streg? Is that Tamara? Yeah, I'm working on an order for her right now. So Tamara, if you get this, there you go. It's been used in that Italian that you have in your blood. And it's also in Mexican Bruja and African American Hoodoo. One way you can incorporate this practice yourself is to dab a little menstrual blood onto an amulet or talisman, which you can then give to your partner to ensure he or she will not stray. Of course, a less controversial way of ensuring a partner's fidelity is simply to work on maintaining the sexual spark and strength between you. And what better method of achieving this than to use an aphrodisiac? And then they go on and talk about aphrodisiac. But in sex spells, that's what it says about blood. So there we are. That was a good one. I liked that. And I just wanted to show you, because we were talking about it earlier, that old clairvoyance book I got. And it's pretty cool. It's just a little shorty. But I got it at the Half Price Books. It's awesome. Okay, next. I don't know if we're going to be lucky in here, but this is High Magic. This was the book I was asking you guys if any of you guys have had or worked with or read or tried any of the stuff. But if I remember, there's not a good index. No. There's no index. They just want you to read the whole thing. So much stuff in here. Chaos magic, talisman magic. I thought there was blood magic in here. Where are the chapters at? Book's so hard to navigate, you just have to read it from start to finish and then be like, what? Could you do a video on like a protection. You may have one, I've already not seen it. Protection. RV Keep It Rolling. I have a 3-part video on protection sand that you can put like around your RV if you're in an area. But I put it around my home. I have a protection coconut that I buried, and we put a bunch of herbs inside of coconut shell. We tied it up with t-shirt straps, and on the t-shirt straps we wrote our intention on it. Tied it up and buried it in the house. But for an RV, if you could just... Ooh, if you have a, you know, like the floor of an RV, and sometimes there's like something you can lift up and it's like a little cupboard below it. If you could put it there, it'd be like under your home. And traditionally you would put that coconut by the front door. Like under, you would bury it under the front door. So for you being in an RV, you know, what you could do, you could make a big batch of that protection sand that I make. It's a full moon blessed protection sand. And then every night before you go to bed, you could do a circle of it around your RV. And just a little bit every night. If you stay in a place for 2 or 3 days, it's already there. I do mine monthly around the house. Monthly I do a protection sand. But if you're ever wondering, you just type, if I've done a video on something, you just go to YouTube and you type in the taxidermy witch and then your topic. Taxidermy witch grapes, taxidermy witch protection, taxidermy witch sage. Just whatever it is, I've probably done something on it. So that's a good way to check. Hey, Kirsten's here. How are you, darling? Nice to see you. Jack Jolly says, Strega Magic. I've been learning about it. A famous Salem witch called Lori Bruno is one. That's cool. Alright. Where are we going to go? More books. More books. More books. More books. More books. More books. Let's see if we've got any more info on blood magic. But tell me, RV Keep It Rolling, if you had a certain type of protection in mind. Like, tell me what you want protection from, and, like, you know, do you want safety at night when you're sleeping, or... Okay, now, this book has a ton. Good! Finally! So this book that Tess gifted me, she just sends me books if she thinks I'll like them. It says Magic, Witchcraft, and Religion. And and I've never been able to use it whenever I look stuff up, but finally it does. So, Blood Magic, it's got a bunch. It's got... Where were I? Blood magic and drugs, blood magic and the evil eye, blood magic and Satanist, blood magic and voodoo, blood magic versus white magic. Also see sorcery. Okay, so we're just going to go into blood magic and the evil eye, not drugs. Let's not be that bad of an influence. Okay, 228. I'll read the other part later. Alright, blood. I gotta find where it is. Watch me research it. Where's the word blood? It's supposed to be on this page. I don't see it. This is the best video ever. Okay, let's try the next place there was blood. Blood magic and Satanist. Should we read that? 231, how about 233 through 236? I'm interested to see what they want to say about blood magic and Satanist. So let's hear it. Oh, here! Wait, that's black magic. This book. We'll have to do research on that book and come back, because I'm not going to sit there and read nothing. Let's see if they talk about blood magic and Diary of a Drug Fiend. Blood, 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 blood. Yeah, blood, page 20. Blood. Blood is a potential carrier of serious infection. At all costs, avoid creating even the smallest skin lesion. These can easily result from overly rough bodily contact attempting to insert large objects into small orifices and so on. Ah, they're talking about stuff we don't need to hear about. Okay, the Witch's Book. I think that it talks about blood magic in here. Yeah. Blood sacrifices blood. 53 through 54. Ready, you guys? We're going to have some good stuff here. Blood. And this is all in the other video, too, all the menstrual blood videos. Blood appears in Act 1, Scene 5 of Henry VI, Part 1, ascribed to Shakespeare, but generally attributed to as many as 4 additional authors. Pile, Marrow... What is all this? Blood is not seen only as the life force of humankind, but also as the source of magical power. So they're saying your blood that flows through your body is the source of your magical power. Let me tip this up a hair. According to the Gardenian Book of Shadows, the scourge is used to bring blood to the sacrifice of the skin, not to hurt. Dancing prior to working magic is another way to get the blood coursing through the veins. Dancing prior to magic. So dancing prior to magic will get the blood flowing through your veins. You could do yoga if you didn't like dancing. Get the blood flowing through your veins. You could go for a run and then do your magic because it's just coursing through you. And I've never thought of that before, and that is so, so smart. So I'm going to read that one more time. Dancing prior to magical working is another way to get the blood coursing through the veins, according to Wiccans. In Wiccan initiations, there is another use for blood. In many traditions, a measure is taken. This is a length of thread which is used to measure certain parts of the initiate's body. The thread is then rolled into a ball and daubed with a drop of the initiate's blood, obtained with a pinprick to the end of a finger. This measure is then held by the coven leader, ostensibly to ensure that the coven secrets are not divulged, because your blood is now part of that. As a form of imitative magic, the measure represents the new witch, so that anything done to the measure would affect the witch. In similar fashion, a drop of blood can serve as a witness for magical work. It represents the person from whom it came, and therefore anything done to it will affect that person. Guys, if you have your blood on a working and you're trying to do self-love, you're trying to do shadow work, that's going to affect you. If you put your blood onto someone else's working, unless it's your husband and you're trying to keep him home, you better be careful, because you don't want to add your blood to somebody else's working. It's dangerous. Not your blood, not your hair, not your spit, you know, that's just for your personal stuff, in my opinion. However, your urine can go on like a poppet, or you could soak a poppet in a jar of urine, your own urine, and, you know, that would be fine. It will represent the person for whom anything done to it will affect the person. It may be worked into a wax poppet or smeared onto a piece of paper. In Wicca, this may be used for to work healing magic at a distance when the actual person cannot be present. It was believed that witch blood ran in families, that the children of witches would automatically become witches themselves. For this reason, children of witches were invariably put to death along with their parents. In Salem, Mass. In 1962, Dorcas Good, the 5-year-old daughter of Sarah Good, was thrown into prison with her mother. At Castletown in the Isle of Man in 1617, Margaret Ine Quain was burned at the stake, and her young son was burned with her. In 1961, Mora, Sweden, 3 adults and 15 children were put to death in one day. It was felt that the best way to terminate the inheritance of... I mean, that to me sounds like a Holocaust. Like they were just trying to wipe out the blood race of witches, right? I'm not trying to be shitty. I know how bad the Holocaust was, and I'm not trying to compare it necessarily. I'm just saying that it sounds like they were trying to wipe out the blood race of witches. I apologize if that comment offended anyone. Moving along. Shouldn't have said that. It was witch blood. In medieval times, it was also believed that witches had familiars, devil's imps who served them. These familiars were supposed to be in the form of an animal, such as a cat. So they're calling my Otis an imp. That's hilarious. So these imps or familiars would be in the form of a cat, a rabbit, a snake, or a toad. Rabbits. They got rabbits. It was believed that the familiar gained its sustenance by sucking blood from a supernumerary treat on the body of the witch. So sucking blood from... They believed that you breastfed your cat. Another old belief about witches was that they gave their soul to the devil, made a pact with him, and signed it with their blood. To sign any pact or promise with one's blood was to make an inviolate promise. Blood is a potent tool of magic. It is used in a witch bottle, a tool of protection. Hey, there you go, sweetie. Can you make a witch bottle that you can put outside your RV when it's not moving? Like even a small one that you could maybe attach to the side of the RV. I hope that would be a good suggestion. You know, RV witchcraft, it changes it because you don't have a positioned home that's always there somewhere. So like, where do you bury your offerings? Just all around, and that's kind of beautiful in its own. You know, if you're traveling on the road and you're not like I do and I have a certain tree I bury shit under, and then, you know, the neighbor comes with the tractor and pulls it up and goes, what is all this? Like, story time. You can also use bloodstone as a substitute for blood. Dragon's blood, dried pig's blood. I have that for sale on my Etsy, which is down below. Let's see. So blood is also a potent tool of magic. It is used in witch bottle, which is a tool of protection. Such a bottle is made and can be made by witch or non-witch alike. By filling a small bottle or jar with sharp objects such as broken glass, needles, pins, or nails. The jar is then filled with the creator's urine. If a woman makes the bottle, then she should also put her menstrual blood into it. The bottle is then sealed and buried below the frost line. Buried below the frost line. I believe that's about 2 inches. I'm not sure. In a place where it will not be disturbed. It is said that, because I don't think they want the urine to freeze, I'm not sure. It is said that for as long as the bottle remains there undisturbed, any negativity sent toward its maker will be immediately reflected back to the sender. So maybe you could have one of those bottles and keep it tied underneath your RV. That would be pretty cool. Alright, so that's what I had in this book, and that was by dear Raymond Buckland, the witch book here. It's just kind of like a big fat encyclopedia of kind of all random things. So I wanted to look in here just to see if they had any blood magic in this awesome book that I got. Candle Magic. It rocks your socks off. So much in here. Nope, no blood. It's okay. I don't think there's blood in here either. Okay. This is Raven Grimrossi, Encyclopedia of Wicca and Witchcraft. Let's see what they have to say about blood. 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 A jillion things. Well, let's just go to B. blood. Starts here, right after blessed be. Blood is a symbol of the life force itself. So again, we keep hearing that over and over. Blood, life force. Blood, life force. Man's life force. Blood is also a symbol of passion and sexuality. In magical sense, blood represents union. Union and linking in general. The blood mysteries are marked by birth, sex, and death. Wicca and witchcraft, these rites of passage in the human experience are known as the three great mysteries. Menstrual blood is considered magical in lunar cults. Menstrual blood is considered magical in lunar cults. Well, I'm not in a lunar cult, but I love working with it in the moon and the dark moon. The flow of blood and its seizing are both immediately connected to the woman's mysteries. Menstruation, pregnancy, childbirth, and menopause are all aspects of the life cycle of women. Blood, or its absence, naturally marks the transformation stages of woman, for the breaking of the hymen to the blood of childbirth to the cessation of bleeding at menopause. So, I'm going to say something, trigger warning. I'm going to say something right now. If I was able to have my first menstrual blood, that would be so awesome to keep that and use like a drop a year or something. And if I was able to have my hymen blood, I would see that as amazingly powerful and magical. Not that there's a ton of it or anything, but and that's just because it's a one-time thing and it changes you as a person. Because I never even really thought of that as being a blood bearer, but it is. So let's go lastly to menstrual, because I think they talk about menstrual blood in here. Menstrual blood is one of the sacred liquids of witchcraft, and it is often known as the blood of the moon, or moon blood. In the ancient mystery teachings, we find that menstrual blood was more than the indicator of a woman's fertility cycle. The vagina was viewed as a magical portal through which life issued forth a mysterious inner source. In Mardiofascial regional, it was a portal of both physical regeneration and the spiritual transformation. Women are more attuned to their psychic nature during menstruation. Women are more attuned to their psychic nature during menstruation. And because the flow of menstrual blood tends to absorb astral energy, the flow of menstrual blood absorbs astral energy. Women are also better at healing than others during this time. And it's almost like when you're in pain, you can heal others because like your empathy is raised and things like that. This is because illness is first reflected in the astral body and lingers in the energy field of the aura. Thus, a menstruating woman can absorb another's astral energy and ground it through her physical bleeding. Once the blood... So do you understand that? When they're menstruating, they're taking the energy from the sad person, putting it internal into their physical bleeding, and then it absorbs the other's astral energy and grounds it through her own physical bleeding. So they're taking the woman is taking the person's energy, putting it into her, and grounding it out through her menstrual bleeding. That's some freaking amazing practice. I would love to practice that with people. When I was menstruating, work with them for pain. So let's continue. Once the blood is put into the earth, so then you would bleed out your blood, which is holding that energy, and you would put it into the earth. You wouldn't put it in a jar and keep it. You'd put it into the earth because the earth can absorb that energy and recycle it. Once the blood is put into the earth, an energy is neutralized and the healing can begin within the aura of the unhealthy person. It's amazing. Menstrual blood was also used to fertilize seeds from planting. You don't need much and you want to dilute it with water, I'll tell you that. Passing the essence of life force into them. Fields were sometimes sprinkled with a mixture of water and menstrual blood to encourage growth. The seeds and plants absorbed some of the energy before the soil neutralized and the etheric charge. Female shamans also passed magical charges into the planted fields through menstrual blood, designed to influence the group mind of the community feeding upon the harvest. It is interesting to note that during the Middle Ages, witches were often accused of being witching crops. Another function of menstrual blood was to anoint the dead. This was believed to assure their rebirth due to the life-giving properties of the blood that was issued forth from the portal of life itself. Oh my God, that's like the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. I really would like to do that with my father. That's like kind of making me cry. I'm going to read that again. Another function of menstrual blood was to anoint the dead. This was believed to assure their rebirth due to the life-giving properties of blood that issued forth from the portal of life itself. During the Neolithic period and early Bronze Age in Old Europe, the Argean region saw the creation of round tombs with small openings oriented to the east, the quarter of the rising sun. These tombs represented the womb of the goddess, and the opening was her vagina. Sacred blood bowls were used to collect menstrual blood for the anointing of the dead. So they'd use the same bowl every time. These were sacred vessels of fertility, light, and transformation. The dead were anointed with menstrual blood and their bodies placed in the tombs. The light of the rising sun was a symbol of renewal and the regeneration as it penetrated the opening of the tomb, the solar phallus entering the lunar vagina. Later in history, though, these earthen tombs evolved into fairy mounds, remnants of the cult of the dead. The sacred pleasures, sex, myth, and the politics of the body. Ryan Iser recounts how prehistoric funeral and ceremonies included sexual acts. Such acts were designed to connect the tomb with the energy of procreation. Kind of makes sense, but it's kind of weird. Spiritual symbols were often marked upon Neolithic tombs and symbols of regeneration. They also symbolized the shamanistic transformation of consciousness that employed hallucinogenic mushrooms. Mushrooms have a reputation as an aphrodisiac. Maybe. Not to me. And their similarity to male genitalia, because it looks like a, was certainly obvious to the ancient Europeans. The quickness with which mushrooms swell up and then ebb away also contributes to the association with the phallus, because like when they're dehydrated they're small, and then when you put water on them they get big. That's kind of representing like an erection, I suppose. Thus we can easily create ecstatic dancing with the burning rites of blood magic. In the mystery teachings, blood magic is connected to the phases of the moon. The full moon initiates ovulation. Like I said, it looks like an egg in the sky and is a symbol of the transformation powers of lunar energy, and therefore feminine energy. Because of its fertile aspect in woman's cycle, the moon is the time of the mother. During this phase, it is best to formulate and visualize whatever is desirable in one's life. Okay, so during the full moon phase, it is best to visualize whatever is desirable in one's life. Magical images take root during this phase, and the blood is charged with whatever thoughts form and may be directed into it. That is very crucial right here. During this phase, the full moon phase, it is best to formulate and visualize whatever is desirable in one's life. Magical images take root during this phase, and the blood is charged with whatever thought forms may be directed into it. That's crazy. That's so awesome. The waning moon moves that which was conceived during the full moon toward manifestation. It is a time to make those connections with the physical world that will assist the flow of related energy towards one desires. The new moon releases the charged blood from the magical cauldron or the womb, so you bleed during the dark moon. The magical energy is now spent, and it is a time for reflection and turning inward. The waxing moon is a time of potential, a time to read and study, preparing the fertile soil of the womb. This goes on, and I've read all of this in the menstrual blood videos, but it is amazing information, you guys. So go check out the 3 menstrual blood videos I did 6 or 7 months ago. It took a lot of courage. It took a lot of courage to talk about this on YouTube, but the thing is that I want my friends to know what's up, like how freaking powerful you are, and that you contain a magic ingredient in you, and you can freeze it every month if you want to, and keep it so that when you're a crone, when we're old crones, we still have our menstrual blood. I have enough saved that I should be able to, you know, even last my whole life at this point if I just use tiny drops, but I'll continue to save it for the next, 5-10 years I'll be menstruating. A black moon is a dark moon. I mean, a new moon. They're calling it the black moon. It's new moon. So when the moon's fully dark. You know, every 2 weeks there's a full moon, and then there's a dark moon, and then there's 2 weeks later a full moon. So, new moon. They're talking about the new moon. Let me tell you this, and a lot of people don't agree with this, and that is okay. Oh, we have 2 new moons this month, Kirsten. So what's that called? A blue moon? Is it called a blue moon when we have 2? It's all right. So I would say that it's called a black moon? The black moon. So we are having a black moon, and I think it's on the 6th, right? I looked it up. I thought it said August 6th. So we have a black moon coming up, and I would think that that would be even more powerful to have the second one in a month. And the blue moon is 2 full moons in a month. There we go. Thanks, you guys. So this Wednesday. That's fantastic. Oh, that's when I have my interview. I'm going to be on... Oh, what's his name? I can't remember, but I'm going to be on a podcast, and it's so awesome. And this guy is so cool. And he interviewed Jake Richards. You know, Backwoods Witchcraft Jake Richards? Yeah, so cool. So we're going to have an hour-long podcast. Not Jake Richards, the author. Yeah, he interviewed Jake Richards, the author, and I communicated with Jake Richards a couple of times on my chats because he made comments on my videos. And he said that he was happy I was reading the books to people who might not have it, so that's super cool. But the guy who's interviewing me, he interviewed Jake Richards, and we ended up on each other's feeds. Okay, Nello, I'll look into that, hun. You're saving to make oils till Wednesday? I know. Don't get impatient, you guys. Just do other workings. Do protection workings for your home. Do protection... Just start doing protection stuff. I feel like it's a good time to be doing that. I'm going to tell you something that's kind of trippy, and I said it in the other menstrual blood videos. And so back before we had electricity, back when we were just using oil lamps and candles and... whatever the heck else they used for lights. I so wish I lived in those times. Back in those days, before we had electricity, you know, before cell phones, before all this stuff, before we had microwaves and electricity, about 90 to 95% of women were menstruating at the same time, like out of the world. And it was because of the light of the moon and the circadian rhythm, and, you know, if you were a fairly healthy woman, women were bleeding when the moon was dark and ovulating when the moon was bright. And that has to do with electricity. And that has to do with keeping your body on, I believe it's called a circadian rhythm. There are movies and documentaries on circadian rhythm, but it's really good to wake when the sun rises and go to bed when it's dark. And it kind of talks about that and how it can reset your body. Also, you can get your ovulation to come with the moon by when the sun goes down, no more lights or electronics. You know, when it's dark outside, you shouldn't be using electronics. And I reset my body using that. And so I got my period to go from, like, it was over on the full moon, and I was like, whoa, I'm 2 weeks off. And it took 6 months, but with like cleaning up my diet, using circadian rhythm, and not having lights on after it was dark or using the cell phone or anything. I just get a candle and a book for entertainment. that reset my body, and that to me makes my blood feel better, like more pure. I have less cramps when my period cycles are on the new moon. I have less cramps. It's hard to explain, but altogether my vibrations with meditation, with going outside with nature, once you start putting your menstrual blood into the earth, you are part of the earth. Your DNA can, I can't tell you how powerful that is, putting your menstrual blood into the earth. You will start to feel a connection that's indescribable. There's no way to describe it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the blood magic video, and I hope some of you get to check out the Patreon videos by joining, you know, as low as $1 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, whatever you guys are able to contribute if you want to see those extra videos and get even more benefits. I give out readings, you know, every taxidermy themed tier has different benefits, but every level gets to see the videos, even if you're $1 a month. So I'm planning some really amazing Patreon videos. I'm excited for it, but I'm not going to stop doing YouTube. You know, I'm not going to take myself away from you to go make money, but I do have to make money. So there's that. I love you guys so very much. And we'll see you soon, because I had a request to do a video on lilies. One of my dear friends, JR, who lives around near me, we're going to be meeting up soon, and she's going to be on some videos with me, hopefully. What was I going to say about her? Oh yes, she has some lilies that she's drawing from a big flower bundle, and I told her I'd do a little video. I found Lily in 3 books. Only 3 books. So, love you guys. See you so soon, and bless you all. It's been a kind of a crazy, kooky time lately, but just remember that the good energies are coming. This will all be over. Bye.